विमल सर नमस्कार।
जी नमस्कार।
नमस्कार भाई साहब, हाउ आर यू?
नमस्कार, मैं ठीक हूँ, आप कैसे हैं?
बस बढ़िया विमल जी।
विमल सर, गुड आफ्टरनून सर।
गुड आफ्टरनून जी, गुड आफ्टरनून, हाउ आर यू? गुड आफ्टरनून।
विमल सर, राजेश फ्रॉम लुधियाना।
या हाय राजेश जी, गुड आफ्टरनून।
गुड आफ्टरनून।
लुधियाना, आई एम कमिंग टुमारो राजेश जी।
मैं इसीलिए पूछा, the moment he said he's had a 4:30 train, I said he's coming to Punjab.
I'm coming Ludhiana. Let's meet tomorrow then.
Okay, done.
Vimal sir, we are just open for the general public. Since we have got some 700 odd people, let them just come in. It's only 120 who have come in.
Not an issue. Not an issue. I've joined. Whenever you say, I will start.
Thank you so much. Where is Shankar?
Yes,
Shankar, can you open your mic and be unmute, please? Vimal sir, Mr. Shankar Shinde is the chairman of the federation, and I thought of introducing him. You know Vipinji, Shankar Shinde is the chairman. Karthik Pancholi is our head of our customs wing. He takes care of it. Vinod Sharma is the general secretary. You know Vipinji. Vipinji does not require any introduction. Shashi Heba, Rajesh, you have just spoken to, and Vijay Kumar, who is a past chairman, and who else is there? Mr. Nataraja is one stalwart who takes care of all our EDA problem. IceGate keep troubling, and he is the one who takes care of it. So this is the office bearers team. This is it's a FFA is a national body consisting of 6,500 members, and whatever the best we can do, we are doing. I don't think anybody would need any introduction about Mr. Bimal Jain once you listen to him. Yes, and honestly speaking, probably a school teacher or a college professor could not have explained the textbook in so much of a simplistic manner. So I am sure everybody would enjoy this session, and to his credit, he has got 167 lectures in YouTube. Whosoever wants to learn more about the GST, please learn it from there. And he's a great orator. He's a chartered accountant, a company secretary, of course, he's an LLB, and he does on the 194 only. Okay. He practices.
Ramaji will get into the introduction because you'll have to repeat the introduction.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
Because you know it's 2 p.m. now. Yeah. So Bimalji, first of all, welcome, and thanks for your time. You will have to keep one session for introduction. Ramaji,
Thank you, sir.
You'll have to keep one special session for introduction only. You know exactly.
Thank you, Sankarji. I think Mr. Rama was taking this time so that participants can join in. That was his objective. That's the reason he was deliberating like that.
No. It's not that. In fact, he has high regards for you, and he ensured that you are on the board. And Vipinji also ensured. Thanks, Vipinji, for that kind taking it forward. Because Bimalji, this is first time we are meeting, but surely you will enjoy associating with FFA and its members. And we will keep on regular touch. But today we have this 2 o'clock session. So we will, Ramaji, you have a flow of the session. So then it becomes in that.
Yeah. I think it is. You start it, Shankar.
Okay, then you have started entering.
234.
I think. Good afternoon, Bimal Jain. Thank you for joining with us. Of course, Rama briefed about you for that. Thank you for. I think it will be definitely very useful for our members. And from October 1st onwards, a lot of freight forwarders and custom brokers are very, very eager to whether it goes okay. Monday, CBIC chairman called for a meeting for a discussion. But what will be the outcome, nobody knows. But definitely your interaction and will be very, very useful for us. And I think Shankar, you can wait for 1 or 2 minutes. I think most of the people are joining now. I think if you don't mind, we can start after 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah, but the flow of
Just
the
to
event is.
Ramaji, just to add, he's also chairman of Indirect Taxes Committee of PhD Chambers of Commerce, chairman of Corporate Advisory Committee of IPM Group of Institutions, member of Indirect Taxes of SHM, FICCI, all these places, he's the one, who's, I keep listening to him in PhD, that's why I said, you must come and address our members, and he very kindly agreed to it, when I requested him.
Vipinji, don't worry about, and definitely I will make task easier for all the participants today. I will try my best and give my best so that all the confusion, whatever there as on date, will go away, except the representation part, which for which we have to go to the government and speak to them. So we will jot down those pointers also today for taking up for discussion with the government authority.
Right.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think
No,
so we
I
have
think we
opened up the
should start.
webinar for the entry. Vipinji will just wait for some time for members to enter.
No, but
The
he has to
webinar-
go. He has to leave exactly at 4 o'clock. Already.
Yeah,
we should not waste time.
Vipinji, I will leave at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. Sorry, I thought 4 o'clock.
No, 3 o'clock, because the train at 4:30.
Yeah.
Now I think we
So
should
the
start.
thing
Let
is,
people
Vipinji-
join. Keep joining.
No, the Vipinji, the thing is, we should have started a little early, so members would have been on board by now. We started, so we can see that the increase in numbers going up. So let at least it gets stable. So at a stage where it gets stable, I think so we should start. Because you see the numbers of participants has got now to 300, and now it's going and adding. So once it's
Yeah,
stable, then we can start.
Registration is 717.
विमल जी वापस कब आ रहे हैं आप चंदी लुधियाना से? When are you
I'm
coming back?
coming tomorrow evening. My
Tomorrow
morning session there, and then evening I'm taking Vande Bharat and coming back.
Chalo, good. Maybe next week we'll.
Yeah, sure.
It's a beautiful train, actually, Vande Bharat.
Yes. So we can get it started. Let participants join in.
I think so. Shankar, please start the thing because.
Yeah, thanks, Ramaji. First of all, warm welcome to all the participants, the office bearers, our keynote speaker, Shri Bimal Jain ji. Thank you for being here with us. We would like to hear you because our whole industry is disturbed with the 1st of October, and we are looking forward at how we can take the challenges, whether it is in for us or it is against us, or whether we should live with it, whatever it is. Without taking much of a time, your introduction has been shared, but we will have Ramaji introduce you also. And we have all the sectors: air, sea, land, road, transport. So internationally, how this freight is going to impact is a very much important. Maybe there are some different understandings state-wise or even the region-wise also, but at least we should have a common practices all across our logistics service provider. That is our major aim. So irrespective what the interpretation comes tomorrow, with our understanding, common understanding, how we should have the real best practices, we should adopt that, and then we can also have a representation to government as to what is a good way of doing into this implementation of the GST. With this, I open up this session and request you to take over. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon to everybody. Vimal sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's my pleasure to introduce Sri Vimal Jain, who is an authority on the GST, and he keeps a close guard on the changes which are coming, and explicitly and he's also very vocal for the changes which are coming to the industry, from the industry's perspective as well as from the government perspective. Vimal Jain ji is a chartered accountant, company secretary, and a law graduate. He does his apart from he being the chairman of FICCI, SOCHM, PhD, etc., he's won a lot of accolades and awards. There is no reason for him to not to get it. And also, I would request all the participants to keep their notebook and pen, and please listen to him carefully and keep noting down what he is saying very importantly, which will be very good. Dushyant, welcome. Sir, Dushyant Mulani is going to take over as a chairman from Shankar Shinde. We have a legacy of taking past chairman, previous chairman, and chairman-elect. So Dushyant is going to be, and one of the very architect person in the customs. Without much ado, Bimal sir, I would request you to kindly start the session. Thank you so much.
At the outset, let me thank all the managing committee members without naming, all due regards and respect to them, on very important changes pertaining to freight forwarding industry, ocean freight and air freight, effective from October 1, 2022. Let me tell you the background. We all know that the exemption which was available till 30th September 2022 is not being continued. So the exemption which was available as per serial 20A and 20B of notification number 9/2017 is not extended. Thereby, so ocean freight or air freight for export now chargeable to GST. That is what the context. In that context, we are going to discuss everything today. Now, first question which is emerging in the market, what happened? Why this exemption is not further continued? Then the background, whatever we got, even I'm talking to the topmost, CBIC officials, what I'm being told. Earlier, this exemption was given on pretext that refund under GST was not smooth. There was no proper mechanism available. So exporter, we are not getting their refund on time. To ease the process, they have given this exemption on ocean freight and air freight for export. Now, since their refund mechanism is now smoothened and refund they are giving within time of 60 days, in most of the cases, that is the reason this exemption which was available till 30th September 2022 is now being withdrawn. Thereby, now GST is going to be leviable on ocean freight and air freight. We have to see the implication in the hands of shipping line, freight forwarder, Indian customer who is an exporter of goods, and sometime we raise the invoice to foreign customer, to overseas importer, or foreign agent. We will try to discuss all the modalities and implication of these changes, which is now going to be effective from October 1, 2022. So first factor why government has not extended, because they are saying exporter will get the refund and refund is coming smooth. Let shipping line and freight forwarder charge GST and this Indian exporter takes the credit and claim the refund. But Indian exporter is again saying that there would be blockage of my working capital. Refunds are not coming on time. But government perspective, they are giving refund on time. That is what their pretext for withdrawing this exemption. Having said that, next question will definitely be important. Very recently, Honorable Prime Minister has launched National Logistic Policy. And this National Logistic Policy means to provide that ease of business will come for the export and import. Now, when we are talking about ease of business, and when we are talking about this money gets blocked in the hands of Indian exporter, maybe 60 days, maybe 90 days, till the time they get refund, definitely this is the area of concern. And this should be our representation to the government that they should look into. Having said that, now this exemption gone, what is the way forward? Now there are three parties involved. One is the shipping line, one is the freight forwarder, and one is the Indian exporter, or can be the party outside India, overseas customer, including your foreign agent. So we will discuss this transaction at length. First of all, what is the GST rate applicable for ocean freight and air freight. For ocean freight, it is 5%. And for air freight, it is 18%. And where from it is coming? You have to go to the IGST rate notification 8/2017. And you have to go to serial number 9, Roman 2. And HSN is provided 9965. Transportation of goods in a vessel, 5% GST rate. And air comes under residue category, 18% GST rate. Second question will come, if Indian shipping line charging 5% on ocean freight to the freight forwarder, whether credit would be available in the hands of freight forwarder? This is the question, pan-India. So my answer to all of you would be that if we look at this rate notification, which I referred 8/2017, under IGST rate notification, it is saying credit is available, credit is only barred, only restricted on goods. Only on goods, credit is available. And when we talk about the shipping line giving services to freight forwarder in turn giving services to Indian customer who is exporter, these are all input services. So in crystal clear terms, ocean freight 5% GST with ITC available on all input services and capital goods. What credit is not available? Only on goods. We know that in our industry, we are majorly into service sector and our inward supply is only inward services and major GST component on inward is on services. And for that credit is available. So first of all, let's have clarity and no confusion per se. And I've given you the notification number, read with serial number 9, Roman 2 for the ocean freight and Roman 7 for the air freight. Input tax credit available even though you are charging 5% on ocean freight. I would like to have answer in a chat box that those who are participating, they can write yes, that they have understood this factor so that clarity emerges that you got this point very clear and no doubt exists. So you can write down in a chat box, at least yes will go for me good so that I get an idea that you're understanding my point. All right, so this part is clear. Now coming back, what we were doing prior to 1st October and what we need to do post 1st October 2022. Prior to 1st October 2022, what we were doing, and that's we have to understand, we were raising bill of supply because ocean freight was exempted. And then we were raising a tax invoice for all other charges with 18%. That's the practice we were following prior to 1st October 2022. So bill of supply for ocean freight being exempted. And for all other incidental charges, we were raising taxable invoice and charging 18%. This was a practice we were following. What happened from 1st October 2022? What is the change we have to do in our raising of invoice? Now, as I clearly said, ocean freight 5%, all other charges will be 18%. But there's one important issue which we need to understand. Whenever we are talking about ocean freight, we have to look at the place of supply. What is the place of supply? So I'm starting with an example and I would be looking for the answer. Let's say I'm a freight forwarder in Maharashtra, And my customer is also in Maharashtra. We both are in Maharashtra, in the state of Maharashtra. Now, freight forwarder earlier used to generate bill of supply for ocean freight being exempted. and taxable invoice for all other charges, 18% GST. So there are two documents which was raised prior to 1st October 2022. What is the change? That's what we need to understand. I've said ocean freight chargeable to 5% GST. Now, please tell me, and this is the answer I'm looking in a chat box, please write down. Freight forwarder is in the state of Maharashtra, and Indian customer who is exporter of goods, again in the state of Maharashtra. Transaction would be intrastate or interstate. I'm only looking for the answer. Please tell me in a chat box, intrastate or interstate. If it is intra, then CGST and SGST. If it is interstate, then IGST. So next confusion in the trade age. What should we charge? It is CGST, SGST being intrastate or IGST being interstate? My answer to all of you would be for ocean freight. Now you will raise tax invoice with 5% GST and it will always be interstate supply. Interstate supply. Even though you are raising invoice to a party, Indian customer who is exporter within the same state. And why it is interstate? You'd be asking this question to me, right? So we have to go back to place of supply provision. Section 12, subsection 8 of IGST Act. It is being stated under the proviso. Proviso is saying whenever you are exporting, so place of supply would be destination of goods. So you are undertaking this transportation of goods in a vessel and ultimate destination is Germany. So you're raising invoice to your Indian customer, Indian exporter within India, within same state of Maharashtra. Normally it should be intrastate, but place of supply proviso as per section 12, subsection 8. Place of supply is destination of goods, Germany. So location of supplier is Maharashtra and place of supply is Germany, hence transaction is interstate as per section 7, subsection 5, clause A of IGST Act. Even though you're raising invoice to your customer within the state of Maharashtra. So first clarity, I gave 5% with input tax credit on all input services and capital goods except goods, which is input. Second clarity, for ocean freight as against bill of supply, now you will raise tax invoice with 5% GST and that would be interstate. And place of supply would be mentioned other territory. Code would be 97. Code would be 97. So this is for ocean freight. What happened for all other charges, which you were raising tax invoice and charging 18%? Is there any change? I'm looking for the answer. For the next invoice, which is the separate invoice we were raising prior to 1st October 2022, we were charging 18%, right? Is there any change after 1st October 2022? My answer to all of you would be, there is no change. You will continue to levy 18%. Now, what is the important here to understand? For tax invoice for all other charges, which is not related to transportation of goods in a vessel, whether this transaction would be intrastate or interstate. For ocean freight, I've explained to you, even though you're raising within the state, but transaction will be interstate, IGST, place of supply would be other territory, code is 97, but what happened for all other charges? Intra or inter? I'm looking for the answer. You can write down in a chat box because chat box is live. I'm reading the chat box. Those who are writing answer in a question answers box, request them to answer in a chat box so that we get a clarity that yes, we are understanding the issue. So that would be intrastate. CGST and SGST leviable. CGST and SGST leviable. Hope I'm clear to all of you. Am I clear to all of you? If clear, then say yes in a chat box. I will move to next point then, so that we get, more of the changes, whatever we are discussing. Having said, okay, I saw the answer coming yes in a chat box. Those who are answering in a question answer box, my request to them, they can answer in a chat box. That will help me, okay? Lot of you are answering in a chat box. Okay, chat box is disabled. Okay.
Yeah, there is a problem. I requested Sagar, just kindly look into this, able the chat box so that people reply in that, please.
I have enabled
Okay.
it, sir.
Okay.
Is it enabled now? If not, let me look at the question answer box, not an issue. So what is the clarity I given? I am repeating again. From 1st October 2022, ocean freight 5%, air freight 18%. Question of ITC, whether input tax credit available when you're applying 5% on ocean freight. My answer is yes. You will get credit on input service and capital goods. Only credit is barred on goods. When you're applying 18%, quite obvious, you will get complete ITC of input services and capital goods. Then I discussed that what we were doing prior to 1st October, for ocean freight, we were raising bill of supply, and for all other charges, taxable invoice with 18% rate, change from 1st October 2022. Now you will raise two separate invoice. In place of bill of supply, there would be tax invoice for ocean freight 5%, but this will always be interstate supply, IGST. And place of supply would be other territory, code is 97. And for all other charges, you were raising tax invoice prior to 1st October, you will continue to raise same invoice, but here it would be intrastate supply. So I've given you this answer as well. Now coming to the third component, which is somewhat I've come across and I'm being told some problem with the GSTN network. And listen very carefully. Indian shipping line going to charge 5% to freight forwarder. Will the freight forwarder get the credit or not? I have said he will get the credit because it is input service for him. And then freight forwarder again going to charge 5% to the Indian customer who is an exporter of goods. This is the transaction we are discussing. The point which I'm discussing here, it is related to GST and common portal. If Indian shipping line or freight forwarder raising invoice to Indian customer within the state of Maharashtra, we are mentioning interstate and place of supply other territory. There is one restriction on this common portal. Unless place of supply is the same of recipient state, I'm again repeating. Unless place of supply is same of recipient state, and recipient state is Maharashtra, but you are mentioning other territory, then this credit is not auto eligible. It is not reflecting per se. And this is bottleneck on GST and common portal. Please tell me, have you seen everyone? Have you seen this problem exist? You can write down in a question answers box. So Mr. Jay V. Thakkar has said, yes, it is a problem. So this is the challenge which is coming out. Then you would be asking a question to Bimal Jain. Bimal ji, IGST charged by Indian shipping line or freight forwarder to Indian customer, whether credit is available in the chain, Indian shipping line to freight forwarder to Indian customer who is exporter. To me, credit is available. And system can't block. They can't do that. So this is the part which I discuss, practical problem, but to my mind, credit is available. And if this bottleneck is there on GST and common portal, they need to correct it. Second matter of representation. So from triple FA, I'm also creating representation point to be represented to the government. You want me to levy tax because which was exempted, so there was no problem. But now since it is taxable from 1st October 2022, and I'm mentioning other territory because of place of supply provision, section 12, subsection 8 of IGST Act, get me a credit. And this credit should be available because this is input service that is not being barred. Second point. Coming to the next component, which is a little critical, and you have to give a thought to it. And I would be looking for the answer from all of you. This 5% GST rate for ocean freight, and the entry, the relevant entry is saying transportation of goods in a vessel. I do understand shipping line is engaged in transportation of goods in a vessel. But what is the position of freight forwarder? They are only buying and selling space on shipping line. They are only buying and selling space on a ship. So are they really engaged in transportation of goods in a vessel? This was disputed even in service tax regime. And this may be disputed in GST regime as well. And department can litigate the matter saying that this 5% which you're applying freight forwarder, which is applying 5% on ocean freight, is not available to him because he is not engaged in transportation of goods in a vessel. It is only shipping line. So this is one area of concern. So thereby department will say it is 18% in the hands of freight forwarder. I'm giving food for thought. I need clarity, third representation from the government. If freight forwarder start charging 18% to Indian customer, I agree Indian customer can take credit and claim refund. But that much money gets blocked. They must clarify this issue. Otherwise, also some of the freight forwarders step into the shoes of shipping line by way of multimodal. By way of house will, everything is being presented by them. So freight forwarder getting into the shoes of shipping line, then no problem, no challenge. You can always say that I'm engaged as a transportation of goods in a vessel. Otherwise, if you are only buying and selling space as a freight forwarder, then this litigation may come up. So this is the right time, third representation for triple FAI, that they must represent to the government and government must clarify whether it is Indian shipping line or freight forwarder, it would be 5% uniform. I've seen certain documentation which has flown in WhatsApp group. And a lot of us have seen that ocean freight, irrespective of fact, shipping line or freight forwarder, we all are saying 5%. But I've created this distinction because of this legal term in that rate notification. Hope I'm clear to all of you. Can I have yes in a chat box or in question answers box so that so if you can say yes in a chat box, that will make my task easy. Okay, perfect. All right. So we have understood the situation in the hands of Indian shipping line and freight forwarder. Now we have to go back in the shoes of Indian customer. What is the position in the case of Indian customer? Because ultimately this 5% on ocean freight is being charged to Indian customer who is exporter of goods. What he will do? He will take credit. That credit is available to Indian exporter. And what is the option available to this exporter of goods? He will have two options. Either he can export goods under LUT, letter of undertaking, without payment of IGST, and claim refund of input and input services. So whatever this Indian exporter has paid GST on inward supply, on input and input services, that refund will come in the hands of Indian exporter and he can execute LUT, letter of undertaking. Second, he can follow a method of IGST route, payment of IGST route. So what happened, this Indian exporter can follow IGST route, payment of IGST route, and thereby get the refund of IGST as well. So for Indian exporter, this credit is available, a refund of ITC on input and input services or IGST is available. Only problem which is being raised by Indian exporter is my working capital get blocked. And the time period, as much as longer time period, that is what the worry for them. And that's what they are raising concern. And they're saying this is creating a problem. We are not getting smooth refund. Had it been smooth refund, we would have, absorbed this particular component. But if there's 3 months blockage, then you can understand that the interest opportunity cost on this blockage of money, that is what the worry has expressed by the Indian exporter. Please tell me, have you understood this component? Say yes and no in a chat box. A yes means I will get clarity that you are getting my point. Okay, very clear. So thank you very much. So a lot of you are saying yes, so I'm moving to next part. Now there may be a case that freight forwarder instead of, and before I move to this point, let me come to this point, Indian exporter, one component for Indian exporter as well. Indian exporters, they have two options of exporting goods, CIF, cost, insurance and freight, and FOB. Cost, insurance and freight is applicable only when he's getting services of transportation, either through Indian shipping line or through foreign shipping line. So he is making CIF, cost, insurance and freight. So this component I have explained to all of you. Had it been FOB, so freight transportation is being borne by ultimate customer, overseas customer, or foreign agent. Now listen very carefully and you should get clarity on this. Indian shipping line and freight forwarder, instead of charging freight component to Indian customer, which exporter, now they are charging this, they're providing this transportation of goods in a vessel to a foreign party, to a foreign customer or foreign agent sometime. Possible, doable. But question will come whether GST leviable when this invoice is being raised to the foreign customer or foreign agent, whether GST leviable or not. Here I would like to draw your attention on export of services provision. What is export of services provision? Under GST law, section 2, subsection 6 of IGST Act. There are 5 conditions need to be satisfied for export of services. Supplier must be located in India, Indian shipping line or freight forwarder, located in India. Recipient must be outside India, which can be foreign customer or foreign agent, outside India. Place of supply must be outside India. Yes, place of supply is outside India. When we look at section 13, subsection 9 of IGST Act, where recipient is outside India, then place of supply is destination of goods. So in my example, I said these goods are destined to Germany. So destination is outside India, destination of goods. When you're raising invoice to your foreign customer or foreign agent, you are getting paid in convertible foreign exchange, which is one of the conditions for export of services, that you should get money in convertible foreign exchange. And last condition, that supplier and recipient should not be merely establishment of distinct person, should not be merely establishment of distinct person. So they are not. So merely establishment of distinct person means head office and branch relationship, which is not the case. So Indian shipping line or freight forwarder registered in India, raising invoice to foreign customer or foreign agent outside India, place of supply is outside India, get paid in convertible foreign exchange. Now I've given you the example and said the provision also. Is it going to be export of services? Now please tell me yes and no. Say yes and no in a chat box that yes, it is export of services. Okay. So export of services, all of you are saying now in a chat box, yes, 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 majorly. Export of services. So what is the option available in the hands of Indian shipping line and freight forwarder? Same option. LUT or payment of IGST route. You can follow LUT route without payment of IGST, and then you can get the refund of input and input services, or you can follow the IGST route. That's what you need to follow when it is export of services. Can I see yes in a chat box that it is clear now to all of you? So I'm trying to make it simpler for all of you so that you can get the clarity. Now, there's certain, when we talk about Sarang Jadhav is there, he's talking about rule 42, 43. Please try to appreciate another change. Listen very carefully, another change. And we must have clarity and no doubt. I'm repeating again so that clarity emerges. Indian shipping line charging 5% to freight forwarder. Freight forwarder charging 5% to Indian customer, right? This is from October 1, 2022. Everything is taxable. So 5% on ocean freight, only condition, no credit on goods, no credit on goods. So when we avail the credit, we have three components: input, which is a goods, input services, and capital goods. I have clearly said when you are applying 5% on ocean freight, credit on input is not available. So you should not take any credit. You should not. You avail credit on input service and capital goods only. But prior to 1st October 2022, since ocean freight was exempted, so there was common credit. And we were following the reversal mechanism in terms of rule 42 and 43. But post 1st October 2022, since you are not availing any credit on goods, then whole credit is pertaining to a taxable unless otherwise you have something else for exemption, exempted supply. To my mind, then it would be for taxable, and then rule 42, 43 application will not come unless you have any component of exempt supplies. Having said that, let me move to next query and next important aspect, and very much interesting. Here we have discussed that Indian shipping line and Indian freight forwarder raising invoice to Indian customer or to overseas customer or overseas agent. But there may be a case that Indian customer has engaged the foreign shipping line or foreign agent for transportation of goods in a vessel. So who is providing services? Foreign shipping line or foreign agent to Indian customer. So please tell me whether GST leviable under import of services, because supplier is outside India, recipient is in India, which is Indian customer, Indian exporter, with a reverse charge RCM applicable in the hands of Indian customer. Please tell me yes and no. And that is what I will understand to what level we all are prepared. So a lot of yes and no coming in, and my answer to all of you, no RCM. No RCM applicable. Section 2, subsection 11 of IGST Act, 3 conditions need to be satisfied for import of services. Supplier must be outside India, foreign agent and foreign shipping line outside India. Recipient must be in India, which is in India, and place of supply should be in India. But is it in India because it is destined to Germany? It is not satisfying, thereby no RCM on this particular case. Please tell me, am I clear to all of you, including Mr. Rama? Am I clear to all of you? No RCM. So say yes in a chat box that it is very much clear to all of you. All right, perfect, perfect. So it's a good vibration coming in this webinar that we are getting clarity one after another. Let's take another example, important example. Indian shipping line of freight forwarder providing services to SEZ unit. And SEZ unit only mean for, export. So what happened? Being Indian shipping line of freight forwarder, are you going to charge GST to SEZ unit? I'm looking for the answer, say yes and no. Please tell me, can you say that whether GST leviable, it is zero rated. GST leviable, but it is zero rated. Zero rated means there are two transactions for zero rated. Supply of goods or services, which is export of goods or services. And second, when you're supplying to SEZ unit or developer, zero rated. Once it is zero rated, you can follow a mechanism of LUT. So such Indian shipping line or freight forwarder can follow LUT mechanism and no GST charge. But whatever GST paid on inward side, refund would be available. Or IGST route. Then whatever IGST charge, that would be refunded back to us. Hope I'm clear. So I look yes in a chat box so that perfect. So say yes in a chat box that this part is also clear to all of you. All right. Thank you. All right. Now I'm getting one more peculiar query in the trade that we have three transactions, right? One is date of shipment when shipping is being done, and shipment is being considered only with the export general manifest, and for import it is import general manifest. That is the real transaction being considered. Yes, my goods are now destined to outside India. Export general manifest by shipping line. Now here there are three transactions: date of provision of services, date of invoice, and date of receipt of money. So there may be a case that your shipment is being done prior to 1st October 2022. But you're raising invoice after 1st October 2022. And you're being paid after 1st October 2022. So question will come to your mind whether it would be exempted, because prior to 1st October 2022, it was exempted. So is it going to be exempted or taxable? Because shipment is already gone prior to 1st October. It is only invoice raised and payment received after, on or after 1st October. So those questions would be coming to your mind, right? So please tell me what is the answer. The question which I asked you, that shipment is done, is gone prior to 1st October 2022, you're raising invoice post 1st October 2022 and getting paid after 1st October 2022. Please tell me, GST leviable, say yes and no. Whether GST leviable, please tell me. So I'm looking for the answer. So a lot of you are answering yes, leviable. A lot of you are giving certain component that this is can be done in other way around. Okay, listen now, very, very carefully listen to me now. Whenever there is change in rate of tax, whenever there is change in rate of tax, section 14 of CGST Act is important. And you have to look at 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3. I'm giving you some basic principle. 2 out of 3. What is 2 out of 3? First, you have to understand 3. What is 3? Date of provision of services, date of invoice, and date of receipt of money. If 2 out of 3, it's prior to 1st October, exempted. And 2 out of 3, post 1st October, taxable. That is the concept you should keep to your mind. So you tell me in a chat box, at least this part is clear, then I will explain with some more example. So say yes, at least that you understood this part. This part is clearly understandable to all of you. Okay. Okay, all right. So this is what I'm getting answers. So now listen very carefully and try to give I'm giving 3 examples to you now, and we'll look for the answer. First example, date of provision of service and date of invoice prior to 1st October. But you are being paid after 1st October. You are only getting payment after 1st October. Whether GST leviable, say yes and no, yes and no. And I given you the how to calculate so that you can always say that. So Mr. Rama, GST leviable, what do you say? GST not leviable. GST not leviable. 2 out of 3 happening prior to 1st October. No GST. Let's take another example. Shipment is done prior to 1st October. But invoice raised after 1st October, you are being paid after 1st October. Whether GST leviable, please tell me. So I'm looking for the answer. Yes, leviable, GST going to be levied. Perfect, perfect. Okay. Now last example with little litigation. Last example with little litigation. That you have done the shipment prior to 1st October and you got paid prior to 1st October. But you're raising invoice after 1st October. Please tell me, GST leviable or not leviable? I'm just asking and looking for the answer. If we look at 2 out of 3, if we look at 2 out of 3, it should not be, all right? Just because invoice is raised after 1st October, but shipment is already being done and I got paid prior to 1st October. It should not be chargeable to GST. Should not be. Even though I'm raising invoice after 1st on or after 1st October. So this is what I wanted to explain to all of you. Well done. So a lot of you are getting my pointers very clear. That is a remarkable one. And now let me touch base. Certain component of import and we can discuss all this thing. You know, air import. By air, when you're importing, it is exempted. Only the ocean one. And ocean, again, we got 2 components, CIF and FOB value. CIF, you know that Supreme Court judgment Mohit Mineral case. That not chargeable. Freight component is separately not chargeable. But FOB, definitely, GST going to be levied and a reverse charge. So this was on import component. So I've given from my side a clarity on the pointers which it changes effective from October 1, 2022 for ocean freight and air freight for export. And I've touched base everything which I thought which is concerning to the industry. Now I want to ask moderator Mr. Rama and Bipinji to ask any query. I can take query for 10-15 minutes and then we will sum up today's webinar.
Thank you so much for your clarity in explaining of the ocean freight and air freight. which was actually bothering our industry. There is one question which has come into the chat box is if the destination charges when it is paid overseas and it is to the shipper when it is charged, is it GST is leviable or not? Because the payment is coming in foreign currency and the bill is going outside India, but service is being given to the Indian exporter.
Now, to frame your question once again, Mr. Rama, who is a supplier in this case?
The freight forwarder in India.
Freight forwarder in India. He's providing services to whom? Indian customer.
Indian customer.
Indian customer, right? Now, what is your question?
In the case of DDP and DDU, the entire charges of the overseas is paid by the overseas agent and it is billed. A recipient is the Indian freight forwarder and he bills back to his shipper, whether GST is leviable or not.
So, Mr. Rama, quite clear that I'm raising invoice to the overseas agent and I'm being paid by overseas agent. Am I right?
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
And destination of goods is also outside India.
Yeah.
I covered in my example above that when Indian shipping line or freight forwarder providing services to foreign agent and foreign agent is paying the money, right?
Yes.
It is export of services because destination of goods is also outside India. Provided you meet all other conditions like supplier located in India, recipient outside India, place of supply outside India, paid in convertible foreign exchange, and we are not merely establishment of distinct person. To my mind, we can term as export.
Thank you so much. Vipinji, from your end, the air import or exports, you have anything?
Yeah, Vimalji, thank you very much. It was really interesting to understand everything. Now, there are two questions which I would like to ask. One is that if we provide service to, to an Indian exporter, the goods are originating outside India, like say, from China to Bangladesh, and the billing is done in India to the exporter. Now, what will be the case, for this type of transaction? This is the first question. Now, second question is that the airlines, when they bill to the agents,
Can we go one by one so that we get a clarity?
Okay.
So freight forwarder is providing services to Indian customer for the transportation of goods, let's say taken from Korea to US.
Yes.
This is your question, am I right?
Yes, yes.
From Korea to
US. Or anywhere, yeah.
So when it is Korea to US, I need to look at section 12 subsection 8 for the region because both supplier and recipient are located in India.
Supplier
supply the freight forwarder.
Yeah, freight forwarder is in India.
And recipient is Indian customer.
Right.
So they both.
Yeah, service also recipient.
He's a service recipient basically. So they both are located in India. So I will look at 12.8 and 12.8 comes with the proviso that whenever there's a supply outside India, then destination of goods outside India, right?
Right.
So it is from Korea to US, destination outside India.
Right.
But being both are located in India, hence transaction would be IGST, interstate supply.
Okay. Okay.
I hope I'm clear to all of you. Please, I will look the answer in a chat box from other person. What Mr. Bipinji asked, I given the answer to him. Say at least yes in a chat box so that I get a clarity that yes, you understood this aspect well. Okay. Next.
Now the next question is that, we in the air freight, we give shipments to the airlines. Now the airlines, instead of billing separate invoices, they bill us together in one sales report. Maybe 20 ever bills or 50 ever bills, and then on the sales report they mention the amount, the freight amount, which is on the paper. Like 150 rupees. My actual rate with the airline is 100 rupees. Now, are they, they should raise individual invoices, or how they should charge me GST? Whether they should charge it what is written on the airway bill, or what is, my agreed rate with them. Because if my agreed rate is with them 100 rupees, and on the paper they are showing 150 rupees, the GST, if they charge me on 150, then I won't be able to claim from the shipper, because I'll be selling at 110.
So my advice to you would be the best option could be individual invoice with the agreed rate. That should be my advice. Otherwise, to create audit trail and documentation to support the contention will not be there.
So that's for the industry friend. Now, the last question is on the master prepaid house collect. We as freight forwarders, we do consolidation. The shipper gives on FOB basis, the shipment, the freight is collect. Now we consolidate the shipment and we make it master airway bill prepaid and house airway bill collect to our foreign agent, and we bill it to our foreign agent, and the payment comes from there, in foreign exchange. Now there are two questions in it. One is that there are component of freight as well as other FOB charges like clearance and all other charges also. Now we are billing everything to overseas. Now, is it all without GST, or there is other charges with services which are provided, which we are providing in India, for custom clearance or transport or any other thing, whether that is taxable. Number two is the adjustment, sorry.
Let me clarify. For transportation part, freight component, which you are charging from your foreign counterpart, that you may term as export of services for the simple region under section 2 subsection 6. But whatever other incidental charges pertaining to goods, then my apprehension section 13 subsection 3 will come into the picture of IGST Act, where goods are made available by the recipient and you're performing function on such goods that is being considered as if performed in India. Hence, GST leviable on this transaction.
It will be.
That's what looks like, because see what happened. You have said there are two components of your transaction. One is the transportation through a freight component. Another one is all other incidental charges for the handling purpose.
Right.
So all other handling charges may fall under section 13 subsection 3 because goods are made available by the recipient, on which you are performing your function.
Yeah, but Bimalji, these are only available on the goods. We are not doing, we are providing services. Now services
Agreed, but your services on goods, getting goods cleared, handling of those goods.
So it's a service.
Service pertaining to goods made available. Try to understand. Bipinji, try to unmake. Okay. Let me give you one example so that you can get more clarity. Hyundai want to get their engine tested in India.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a testing agency in India. So Hyundai is getting me engine delivered either through Indian counterpart to my premises. And I'm performing my testing function on that engine. So I'm providing service only. Whether that would be export of services. No, 13 subsection 3 clearly says that I'm performing function on the goods made available by the recipient. So please wake up call. I'm just alerting you and giving you the way forward. You are performing service. I given an example, even testing guy is performing service, but pertaining to goods made available. So maybe we have to look into the transaction and we have to determine accordingly. I given my apprehension to you, but that can be detailed out and discussed later.
Fine. Now, last question is that if the payments, to an overseas agent, he owes me, say, $400,000 and I owe him, say, $200,000. Now he's doing the netting. He's only making me payment for $200,000. Now, what will happen? Will it be treated as
Bipinji, it's netting permitted by RBI.
Yes.
No problem.
No.
But that is not being permitted under GST provision. Under GST, when you term as export, you should get money in convertible foreign exchange.
Right.
So that may be another area of representation to the government that we are into both export and import,
Right.
and we are getting it net off. So to the extent it gets net off, that will be considered. We must say ultimately what I'm sending $1,000 and I need to pay $500. So net $500 transaction I got. So it is making the transaction net off as per RBI. But for GST, they have to make such provision. Even after net off you are getting, it will be deemed as receipt in India. Unless this provision is being made, Bipin Bhai, there may be litigation, and GST department will be adamant. They will say, no, we will not consider export because you haven't got $1,000.
Okay. Good.
We can
Thank
take
you.
the
Thank you.
question of Rajesh. Since you have a paucity of time, let me give you the last question.
Yeah, so continued with the same example what Mr. Vipin has given, like providing service outside India and both like these like Korea and Bangladesh, say that example. So now in that case, there's a multinational company who has office in Delhi and they have a headquarter in say Dubai. So the invoicing is done in Dubai only. So in such a scenario, what will be like if you compare the Indian forwarder who is billing through Delhi and the multinational company who is billing from Dubai? So we will have the tax implications where the other party may not have.
You rightly said, I agree with you. And this is a matter of representation, and that's what the concern we are raising to the government as well, that though Honorable Prime Minister has launched national logistic policy to provide export and import should be smoother from India, but this is the way my business will go to Dubai. And that is not helping to Indian freight forwarder shipping line.
So that's very serious concern for
Undoubtedly, and I agree with you. And another point of representation, you can accumulate.
Shankar Bhai, last word for you if you have anything.
No, we will send the due to the time paucity. We can take one of the questions from the participants, whichever you seem, and then we can close up with the vote of thanks.
But before we take one question from participants, my question to all the participants now. We are 5:28 now, and these participants are staying back, and for last 1 hour they are staying back, and I could see 600 comments in question answers box. So it means all of you is connected with me when I was deliberating on the topic. What I need from each one of you. I know there was a lot of dispute in the trade and market. Though Bipin Bhai, Ramaji and Rajesh ji has asked a number of questions, they got certain clarity also. But still I tried my best to provide a clarity on this changes effective from October 1, 2022 on ocean freight and air freight for export. And discuss when we are billing to Indian customer, when we are billing to foreign counterpart, when we are making billing to SEZ unit. A lot of example I created example of if shipment is done prior to 1st October, invoice raised after 1st October. A lot of things I did it. I just want to have answer from you in a chat box or question answers box. At least I know within 1 hour there may be some of the question which is left unanswered. I do agree. But we want to start our journey being together. So today I'm being invited on your Triple FA platform. I have taken this initiative, provided the clarity. A lot of dispute was there whether ITC available, not available, whether two separate invoices. If separate invoices, one would be inter, another would be intra. A lot of example I created in my deliberation. I just want to ask one question from all of you. To a reasonable level, hope you got clarified. You say at least in a chat box, yes, he got reasonably clarified today that at least we have fair amount of understanding and clarity today. Say yes in a chat box so that I get yes. At least today's deliberation has really given a crystal clarity. But yes, I do agree some of the things may be left out and the time is the pause. So those who are saying yes, air import is exempted, Ravinderji. Air import is exempted long time. So a lot of questions I could have answered, no denial to it, but because of time pause and I need to catch my train, honestly speaking, I would have loved to continue to answer each one of you. That would be my pleasure. But only thing, time is the pause today. Maybe next time we can again organize after 10-15 days, and then we can take it forward. Please tell me at least yes in a chat box, so that I get, satisfied. I get motivated. Yes, my audience got whatever they wanted. Am I right in saying so? Absolutely clear, Sunil Kohli ji is saying. Thank you very much. So those who are saying yes, I'm really thankful. And those who did not get the answer of their query, allow me to have some time. Next time, again, we will organize with FFA and we'll try to take your other questions as well. But today I need to catch my train. I'm really sorry that I'm not continuing further. 1 hour, I promised that 1 hour would be very less time, but I will clarify everything. Thank you very much. That is what. Last question, please.
Thank you, Mr. Bimalji. Yeah, Ramaji, last question you can take from the audience.
No, I don't think there will be any other question. Shankar, you can just give him thank you for his wonderful session.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Please.
No doubt 1 hour is no time where we can justify all the participants to question, but surely we are coming up with the FAQ, and with the help of Mr. Bimal Jain ji. So we would like to prepare one FAQ for our industry. We will send it with elaboration, examples, how it affects us or how the entries has to be done. And we will surely like to have a common practices all across the logistics industry. So this is how we look at it. So please help us out. We will in preparation, and surely we'll take up. We will excuse Mr. Bimal Jain from this session due to the train here sir has to catch, and we will look forward for the next session after our representation and discussion with board member, tomorrow chairman. So surely thanks a lot once again, and we will look forward to being engaged with you on long-term basis. Thanks a lot, Mr. Bimal Jain.
Thank
and
you
we will
so
continue with the webinar for some
Thank
time.
you very much for this.
Participant can still be there. We will surely like to interact with participants for some more time. No issues.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vimalji, one last thing. Can we send you these questions? What people have
See,
asked?
with the time pause, I have to see my diary, and then only I can commit anything. At the moment, I
Okay.
can't say anything.
Okay.
No, later you can
Thank
see.
you.
We'll just send a
Yeah.
question. Vipinji, we will surely send a question.
Thank
We'll
you.
see the details on later part. Yeah. No
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Bimalji.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ramaji, you can take up some of the
Yeah.
questions here, and
Yes,
wherever
please.
possible, we can understand the issues or the questions and the
Yes,
trade issues. So it will be help us to address during our meeting on Monday with the chairman, CBIC board, Mr. Vivek Johri ji, because we'll also be preparing some questionnaires on that part. So you can open up the session for questionnaire or some doubtful which is there. So the house is open for the discussion. Yeah.
There is a question by Nikita Sutaria about the RCM on import of services, whether it's to be paid under RCM or not. So this has been clarified by Bimalji that whenever there is a freight, everything is.
पता था मीटिंग चल रही है, तुमने बीच में बंद करवा दिया मेरा.
Okay.
Ramaji, go ahead.
Yeah, the process of RCM has been explained. I think this question was prior to his explanation. And destination charges at overseas country, DDP and DDU, he has given the example also. Third country exports, he has very categorically said this is what Vipinji and Rajeshji has been talking about. It is IGST is leviable and reasonably understood. Okay, yes. I think this anonymous attendee must put his name at least for next time onwards.
Ramaji, what you can do, you can just, instead of reading the question, if the participant is available, you can invite him and speak.
Anybody has any question, please come out.
Yeah. No, you just spell out the name so Sagar can include them in the webinar, in the panel, yeah, for question.
Raghu Shankar.
Yeah.
G. Raghu Shankar. He has given plenty of points. I think he's given a point
Yeah.
effective
Please,
1st
Jay.
October.
Mr. Raghuji, go ahead, sir.
No, I've not given points. I've just summed up whatever he said.
That's what. That is
Yeah,
exactly.
my only question is, Vipin raised a question on third country export.
Yeah.
It was generally said the recipient and supplier of service is India. It is not so.
It is not so.
Recipient is in India, supplier is overseas. So technically speaking, GST should not apply. Whereas Mr. Bipin said, no, IGST will apply. I think the question was not posted properly. Recipient is in India. I mean, the service is provided to an Indian forwarder. Service is provided by an external from one country to the other. That being so, IGST should not apply. This is my understanding, which please get it clarified.
Raghu, we did discuss about this. The ocean freight is not taxable, but all other service charges.
No. That is different. Handling charges. That is not third party.
That is
Third
chargeable.
party is Korea to US. If it is Korea to US, the service from Korea to US is carried out by either the Korean or the US agent, not India. India is only the one part of it. India is not both the receiver and provider of service. India is only one leg. That being so, I think we have to get this clarified. 1. 2 is, let me finish and after that you can respond. When you have a meeting with the chairman, this applying IGST itself is incorrect, because 097 is all pervading. So either it should, the code that you are going to put 097 is other territory, it's not other state. So either they have to create a new entity or they have to clarify about CGST and SGST applicability, because it's a limbo. The department can take any stand tomorrow and you may have notices issued. So there should be some clarity that what you should apply should only be IGST. When the chairman meeting is there, let there be clarity on the applicability. That's it.
Okay. Now, Raghu, to answer to your question, who gives the order for Korea to USA? An Indian entity. Okay. And secondly, who is the service provider? Indian freight forwarder. And all other services, leave it from US, the Korea to USA. That is not an issue here. That is those charges as well as the freight is not livable as far as IGST is concerned. But whatever the service charges the Indian freight forwarder is billing to the Indian exporter or Indian entity is service tax of GST is leviable on that. That was the clarity he was trying to give it.
Is that what Vipin wanted?
Yeah, this is what he was asking.
So basically, I wanted to know that I'm sitting in Delhi. My customer, is in Delhi. He wants the shipment to be shipped from China to Bangladesh. Now I'm billing it to Indian party, but the services are provided outside India and the recipient is also outside India.
Vipinji, what are you billing for?
Exactly.
What are you billing for?
For the services I'm providing, because foreign agent, my China agent is billing me because I don't know anyone over there.
No, be specific. Are you giving the services of ocean freight or are you giving the services of other charges?
Both.
See, as far as ocean freight is concerned, it is exempted. There is an exemption notification is also there. 7.3, I think. It is not, ocean freight is not leviable. On all other expenses, it is IGST is payable.
Ranjit, this is where I don't agree. The exemption will not apply here. The place of provision of services rule will apply. There is a difference between exemption and the applicability.
Provision of service rules, right? Correct.
Yeah, if you apply the act, I am saying the services are provided outside India. Probably the recipient of services in India. Vipin, you have to correct me.
Yeah, that's right. But I'll get it clarified from him only, maybe on Monday. Because I'll call him and I'll check on this and I'll let you know. Raghu.
Okay. Yeah, he was referring to section 13.3.
Yeah.
There is 12.8. 12.8 is outside India. Section 13.3, no, maybe if you apply it, no, then the exemption will come in the picture.
13.3 is for the local expenses and everything.
If you apply 12.2, the service is outside the country. So automatically the place of provision of the place of receipt of service, which is outside the country.
That's 12.892.
But then, one thing more,
I think-
which is said,
No,
which,
Vipinji, Ramaji, we can take it's a third country export. It depends on the transaction. So let us take that question. We'll have it addressed during the
Okay,
chairman
we will
meeting. With
ask
such
for
type
it.
of cases, it's a bit complicated because there is even the case laws means the provisions are different for different things. So we'll have that representative. You can take for some other question.
Anything, Bindu, you have raised your hand. Can you unmute Bindu, please? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Sorry, it was prior. I got answer from
Sure.
you already. Thank you so
That's
much.
what I thought as well, because you are clear. Okay. I think
Yeah,
we
I
have-
got my
we-
answer, query answered. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. I think it was quite clear, but we wanted more time so that, he could have taken more
We have
provision.
Nailesh Gandhi. Mr. Nailesh Gandhi is there. We'll just take Nailesh Gandhi.
Yes,
Yeah,
Nailesh.
Mr. Nailesh bhai.
Good evening, good afternoon, and thank you very much. A very interesting session. I would definitely like to have the summary of this, and I would like to have the video again because I would like to make some notes on this. Coming to the last point, I may have missed hearing part of it, but if the issue is of third country services, shipments to an Indian shipper or Indian customer, that is, let's say if an Indian customer says ship some cargo from Singapore to Africa, I think this needs some, at least needs some clarification, specifically now that export of services, export of freight is attracting GST. So we should get an answer to this. Earlier, we had an escape route that I'm treating Singapore to Africa as export, and therefore there is no GST on that ocean freight. I think one needs to understand how this is going to be addressed in this new regime.
I think, Shankar, when we are going to the chairman, we should ask for this, because this is also was one of the point of Vandana Agarwal, is it, please get this clarified. This might create a problem at a later stage.
Ramaji, there are 2-3 situations in this also. The exporter or the contractor may be available in India or abroad also. We may work as a forwarding also, because third country export may have that we may not be in direct contact with exporter or importer. It is a forwarder to forwarder. It is only our rate contract which they may utilize. So there are 2-3 scenarios which we need to highlight to the CBIC, and we will do that case laws for the
Sorry,
CBIC.
Shankar, I'm saying it's an Indian customer who
Yes.
Yeah, both the
Third
cases. So
country.
Indian customer also, and even the external. So there are 2-3 scenarios. That's what we are trying to. Yeah. So yes, we have a case to be present. So any other, Ramaji?
I don't think so. Anybody else?
Rama, I have got one clarification I have to ask, if you allow me.
Uh,
What he said was that, to a company, if he's billing to overseas, and if the agent, like a multinational company, if an Indian multinational XYZ, they have got a head office in Germany and they are, billing to them, then they do not get this, exemption. They have to charge 18%. Foreign exchange, foreign billing, even if they are doing foreign billing. Is that correct?
No,
My understanding-
he talked about the distinct entity. Distinct, like for example, you are based out of Delhi and you have office in Bombay, your own office, and you have a separate GST. You have office in Chennai with a separate GST. You are a distinct entity.
No, but if I have got an office, say in London, and I'm billing to my London office, what will be the case? He said, if you are having your own entity, then
It's a SVB case.
Sorry?
It's a SVB case. He has already clarified.
Special
Not
value.
applicable. Anyway, Ramaji, we will have a lot of questions. We will take the questions in writing from all the members, and then we will make a representation also, and we'll also prepare a FAQ for all our members. So that will help to at least create one common practices across our industry and assist our members. And we'll also have this portal-based question answers, which we can have a direct posting to the TRU section also, where they can get direct responses also. So with this, I think so if everything is clear, we'll always have the ambiguity, and from time to time, because there's a new change which has come in, different practices, and it's not a straightforward understanding, because our practical aspect needs to be made understood to the government as to how do we work, how do we perform, and what are the different ways of performing. So we will surely make this representation in a better way with the understanding and the response received from the trade to prepare a final FAQ. With this, I think so. I thank all my office bearers, the advisors over here, and all the main participation for showing this importance of the seminar and webinar to attend this webinar. And we look forward for the more inputs from your side also, so which will strengthen to make our case more stronger. Thanks once again to all our members for the participating and keeping us in touch. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.